Hey everyone.
Hey everyone, good to see you. Hey.
Welcome back to another DC weekly hangout. It's great to see everyone.
Here we are.
Let us know if you can hear and see us okay. And let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments. Where are you in the world? We can see Pamela from Colorado.
Yeah, we've got Germany, Luxembourg, California. California sounds a bit warmer than it is here today, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty getting pretty wintry.
Pretty nippy, got my jumper
in the UK. We're really excited today because this is going to be quite an informal hangout. There's no guest. It's just myself, Tom, co-founder at Design Cuts, Matt, co-founder, creative director at Design Cuts. And we're going to be geeking out with you lovely, fine people about how to make money selling digital products.
We are, which is our love, really, isn't it? This is kind of what we do, help people sell products online. So yeah, this is a good one. We just wobbled a little bit.
That was me. I'm getting carried away. Geek away, David says.
Yeah.
Hey, Claudia from Romania, Deborah from Wisconsin, New York. This is Mike, David from New York. There you go. David and Mike, you guys should meet up. Cool. So we're going to jump in. We've got a presentation, but then throughout that, please don't be afraid to pop your questions in the Ask a Question area.
Yeah, we've got some coming in now, which is great. Yeah, pop them down there. And we
Joe from Stroud. It's Jojo.
Ah, cool. Hey.
So Joe, who is in the comment section,
hey Joe.
She's the mastermind behind the Cotswold chalkboard, and she actually did an exclusive product with Design Cuts, which has been pretty popular.
Yeah, absolutely, and has done lots of design work for us, and is generally just great.
It was pretty popular during the birthday event as well,
So,
Joe.
hi, Joe.
So hopefully you'll see some good sales.
Yeah.
So obviously what we do at Design Cuts, we are the most curated, most quality marketplace for designers. And it puts us in quite a unique position to talk about this stuff because we've earned literally millions of dollars for the designers that we work with. We've helped people quit their jobs, go full-time on this stuff. There's other people who might not even be full-time, but they're kind of doing it as a side hustle and they're paying their bills. They're making life a bit more comfortable.
People have been struggling to pay their mortgage and totally sorted that out. So yeah, it makes a big difference to people's lives.
It does, and we live and breathe this stuff. So we love digital design products. We love working with talented creatives and just trying to give them that opportunity and that channel to make money doing what they love. And so in today's chat and presentation, we're going to put together some of our thoughts around how to do this well. Because yes, we're lovely, I like to think, and we're a lovely team and we love everyone we work with. But it's our job to be quite fussy. So
it is. That's what we do.
We turn into like Simon Cowell.
It's terrible, isn't it? No.
Yeah. Because all we do, like all day, we're having to like look at product strategies and products that are being pitched to us and that kind of thing. So we have to be really fussy because we've learned what sells and what doesn't, what makes loads of money for people and is a huge hit and the customers love it, and what can be a bit of a flop.
And sometimes the customer might not even get past the product cover. So, if the product cover is not good enough, the eye doesn't catch on that, they're not going to go through to look at the product. They're not going to look at your previews. They're not going to buy the product. So you've got to nail the presentation. You've got to nail the product. You've got to nail the audience, the positioning, everything.
And we're going to get into all of that in just a second. Matt's put together a pretty slick presentation. But as you're watching it, if you've literally got any questions at all, we are here to help. We want to do a real deep dive with you guys. And this is, shall we reveal it now or near the end? What we're working on?
Oh, near the end, maybe.
Okay. And stay tuned. We've got a little surprise lined up for you guys. Something really cool we're working on to do with all of this.
Absolutely. Cool.
Hey, Jay from South Africa.
Yeah.
And Jackie as well, who visited the offices recently.
Pam from Ohio.
Teresa from Cape Town. Good old Teresa.
It's so much more exotic than Chertsey in England, isn't it? We need to leave the office.
Look, Dubai.
I know.
You're putting us to shame, guys. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna jump into our presentation. Here we go. So, just checking, can everyone see that okay? Let us know in the comments, you should be able to. Hopefully. There's always a lag on the comments, as Matt knows. So, just confirm. Yeah, okay.
Amazing. Cool.
Sweet. Matt, do you want to kick us off there?
Yeah, sure. So actually, this is a presentation which is kind of distilled from an article which is actually in our learning section, which basically tells you how to sell digital products online. And it's got all the ins and outs on it, the pitfalls, the basic pillars that you need to follow. But just basically distilled into a presentation. So we can probably start to just step through this. And number one is set your expectations. So, Tom.
Yeah. First of all, realize there's so much abundance and potential out there. And obviously with what we do, we see more and more people who are able to carve out a living or a part-time income selling digital products, which makes us so happy. But like anything else, you get out what you put in. It will map to your level of talent, your level of experience, and all kinds of factors that we're going to cover today. But realize there is quite a wide range. There are people literally making millions doing this stuff, which is incredible. But there's also a very big long tail. There's a lot of people who are making tens of thousands, hundreds, or even $20 a month. Absolutely. And it pays their coffee bill. So,
but it's worth having, right? Whatever level you have it at, it's worth having as a residual income.
Completely. And as Matt says, it can be quite residual. It can be quite passive. There's some people who are just full time on this and working every hour of the day and doing incredibly well. There's some people that put some products up and it's their passive income, which helps pay their utility bills each month. So there's a huge spectrum, but just it's important to manage your expectations.
But it's great for a side hustle. And then, if that side hustle really starts to pay off, then you can move into it more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So next up, we have the 3 pillars for digital product success. I feel like we're at
your baby as well.
I feel like we're at a marketing webinar or something. I know you guys can see us in the bottom left, really small. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
I feel like we need one of those giant metal pointy sticks.
We do, or a big hand. Laser pointer.
But yeah, Pam says it could be a nice sideline. It absolutely could.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would actually say the majority of designers that sell in our marketplace, for many of them, it's not their full-time gig. A lot of them actually, they freelance, they do client work. Some of them even just have regular 9-to-5s, but they have a talent. And so they wanted to make some products and they make some healthy extra income.
And you might even want to do it just to get a kick out of it. There's been, certain products that I've been thinking about making in terms of, very interesting, this like documentation and business development that I'd like to sell as products just because it would help people out. Exactly. And because it'd be fun.
Joe says, guys, they're circles, not pillars. Joe, they're actually pillars, but it's from a bird's eye view. Yeah. Okay, so to break down these 3 areas, this is what we think the combination is for the really, really big
find the sweet
success
spot.
Products. You're combining your talent, so what you're best at, what you're really, really great at, with market demand. So how many people are out there who actually want this thing, potentially? That's your market demand. And then the uniqueness of the product, because you wouldn't believe how many rip-off products we see.
There's a sea of them currently. Absolute sea of them.
There is, and I'm happy to share this. Like Lisa Glanz, our good friend who we work with very closely, she gets this probably more than anyone.
Absolutely.
People are ripping off her products left, right, and center. And I think we're the only marketplace that is actually very hot on not allowing that. So we regularly will say no to products from people and people applying to sell with us if we feel it's too close to what someone else is doing, because we really value uniqueness. So jumping to the next slide. Do you want to take this one, Matt?
Yeah, sure. So basically, define your talent. What are you good at, basically? What are you most passionate about? Because in any field of design, let's face it, you want to do what you absolutely love. What do I absolutely love? I love brand design. I love business development. So I would probably want to put out products that were in that vein, really. And then think, how can you translate that into a digital product? For me, it might be sort of releasing white label products to help people put together brand definitions for their clients, that kind of thing, so that you can more easily pitch to clients and make more money. And again, where can you provide the highest quality? Maybe you're an illustrator, and that's it could be that your passion is in one area, but you haven't got enough talent in that area, or vice versa, really.
Absolutely. So let's play a little exercise, because this is a live interactive session, of course. Can you guys in the comments put what is something that you feel you're skilled in? That you have a good amount of skill, experience in.
But also something that you're passionate about as well. So there's the crossover there. Yeah.
So it could be brand design, it could be illustration, it could be hand lettering.
Yeah.
Just let us know in the comments, and we'll get a few comments in and see what the kind of spread is of talent in this group. Damn, the delay on the comments. It's always
delayed, isn't it?
Feel like you're on a
so excited. Here we go. Hand lettering. Yeah, or jacket. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, yeah, so Jackie says hand lettering. Okay. Branky says photography, product, or still life.
That's an interesting one, photography, because it's a very saturated market.
It is, although I've got some good examples here. So yeah, Kathy says patterns and hand lettering as well.
Illustration, web design,
Perfect. So the good news is drawing and lettering, Joe, absolutely.
Icons, nice.
Cool. So the good news is everything that you guys are listing, there are products for.
Yes.
So just to give you a few examples, we've got a lot of hand letterers here. We know many hand letterers that have literally taken their lettering and turned it into a font.
Yeah.
For example, we know hand letterers, for example, Ian Barnard, who then used his skill to go and create the grid builder and the letter builder.
Massive.
With himself
and
Stefan Kuhn.
Continually in the bestsellers.
Yeah, hugely popular, but that's on the back of them having skill and passion within the world of hand lettering and creating a tool which primarily helped themselves, but then they realized would also help a wider audience. So that's hand lettering. We had some photographers out there. You can sell potentially stock photography.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. You might have seen in our marketplace, we have stuff like the Sky Builder. If you haven't seen it, it's essentially a spin on stock photography where someone created the pack and actually you can build an entire skyline. So it's got all kinds of moons and suns and clouds and birds and backdrops, and you can create your own scene by piecing together their amazing photography.
Yeah, and they're
massively popular.
And the great thing about that is the market for that product is basically anyone who takes photos. So it's millions of people. So it's a huge market and a huge demand for it, and it sells really well.
Absolutely. Or one of our most popular products at the minute is from Denise Love at Two Little Owls. She did a collaborative product with us, which was a series of workshops, like video workshops and textures. And she's the queen of laying textures over photographs. So she will scan and photograph really interesting surfaces. She'll mix them together, create highly unique, high resolution textures. And then she will teach people how to apply that on their photography. And that's massively popular.
Yeah,
she's carved out a really successful business.
Yeah.
So hopefully just say yes in the comments if from these examples you're starting to see the potential where whatever your skill and your passion, there's actually a huge abundance. There's a huge opportunity.
And as in that case, you can also sell your skill set. You can also sell learning courses and teach people how to do what you love, which lots of people really love doing and get a massive kick out of.
I love the potential. It's no longer that you need to have a very certain skill set to make money.
Really varies.
There's people who are into some weird stuff. I mean, we've got our friend Scott at Circworks. He literally draws zombies and monster cartoons.
Makes money out of that.
And he makes money from that. He's like the mad scientist.
Yeah, even dresses up.
He's like the wackiest guy ever. I love him. But that's so niche. That's so specific. But he's still able to carve out a living. So I think embrace your weird, whatever it is. Realize you can make a success out of it.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got
here we go
market demand.
There we go. And with the Sky Builder example, the market demand for that, because it's basically pitching towards everyone who's a photographer, everyone who takes a photo. It's absolutely huge. And who hasn't taken a photo and thought, the sky doesn't look great in that photo. What can I do about it to actually make that look nicer? And that ticks the boxes for that and adds that interest.
Definitely. And we talked earlier when we were looking at this presentation, it's all well and good saying, decide how big your intended market is. Is it over or underserved? This kind of thing. But how do you figure that out? And I think there's a few ways. So one way is go and see what's actually popular out there already. And we're going to get to uniqueness, but I think that can be quite a good metric. If you see that, for example, hand-drawn fonts or cute illustrations or whatever it might be is selling very, very well, and you can see there's thousands, if not millions of people out there buying this stuff, that's a good indicator that there's a large amount of market demand. You can, of course, spin off of that and come up with your own unique angle so that you're not just lost in a sea of noise.
Yeah,
completely. And we'll get to that next slide, I believe. But just simply looking around and seeing what's popular and what's selling is often the quickest and easiest way to assess the level of market demand currently.
Absolutely. That popular drop down is useful.
And I think as well, just a bit of common sense. So, for example, the grid builder that Ian and Stefan released, with that, nothing really existed like that. So they couldn't go and look at existing products and gauge how big the market demand was. But a bit of common sense tells you that that product helps any hand letterer.
Yeah,
I've yet to meet a hand letterer.
And given how the hand lettering, how massive the hand lettering market is, and just how much interest there is in that, it's obvious that there's going to be a big demand for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you know there's millions of hand letterers out there,
then
and it appeals to all of them, you've got a market.
Yeah, and no one's done it.
People. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So, as we say, next up, uniqueness. Do you want to take this one, Matt?
Yeah, sure. It's so important that this product is unique and that it doesn't just get lost in a sea of products which are basically almost identical. It doesn't take long browsing around through a few digital, product websites, not ours, obviously, because we're very careful to restrict the number of products in there, to see a lot of products which are basically exactly the same. And then as someone buying that product, it's then difficult to know which is the decent product, which is the quality product. And you'll just get completely lost in that,
Yeah, completely. I'm seeing some of the comments. Jackie said Grid Builder, it truly is the best product for a hand letterer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a great example, though. That's why we keep referencing it. That is a truly unique product. It's very, very high quality. It's very useful, but it's also very unique. So it really is ticking all of those main pillars.
A lot of the builder kits are quite great in this respect as well, because you can find really good, new, interesting angles to help other people create that aren't actually easy to copy, because it does take quite a lot of time and work to put the builder kits together.
Yeah,
the scope of the product is pretty large.
I was talking about this recently on a podcast, and someone said, are there any trends currently that you see within products? And we're huge fans at Design Cuts of these builder kits, as we call them. And this is where essentially you're giving people a collection of elements to go and build something themselves. And we mentioned the Sky Builder, but we also collaborated on the Universe Creator.
Yeah.
If you've seen that with Angelina at Skybox Creative. And that's a pack where you can literally, you've got everything cut out for you already, and you can work with astronauts and spaceships and asteroids and planets and meteors. And it's amazing, and people love being able to just have infinite creativity and possibilities. They can build anything they want using it.
Yeah, and we'll cover it later, but that's a really, really important that the scope of the product is really large. Like, the International Brand Collection, for instance, where you can, explore brands from all over the world, or Montreux in terms of a font where the scope of that's absolutely massive and the brand applications are huge. Yet very difficult to copy those kind of products, really, because it takes months and months and months and a lot of original thought to put them together. Yeah.
And we see that time and time again. The people who do best, they actually devote real time and effort.
Yeah, they put the effort in.
The ones who are churning out a product a week tend to get copied a little bit easier.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you want to differentiate yourself from the rest of the designers out there, it's important that you really shine.
Exactly. So next up, study for success. What are we talking about here, Matt?
Well, basically just do your market research. Look to see what the other big designers out there are doing, your Lisa Glands, your Ian Barnard, etc. What are they doing? What are they doing in terms of their presentation? What are they doing in terms of the scope of the product? How are they following the 3 pillars that we've already outlined? It's so important that if you want to compete with the big people in the industry, that you do actually compete with them. And that you have, quite high aspirations and quality for the work that you do, because otherwise you are going to get lost in an absolute sea of products out there.
And this is true of anything, really. But as the world gets busier, it could be Instagram or being on YouTube or having a podcast or creating design products. Invariably, these areas get busier and busier. And often people think, is it too late to start? Or is there any point because it's so busy? And I think the cream always rises.
It does.
Quality always rises. You will always stand out by being quality. And a great example, we've got Jessica Johnson from Creators Couture. She's just joined the call, and apparently she's listening in from a train. Hey, Jessica. But Jessica's a great example of this, because she does fantastic brushes, and she actually came up with a really innovative way of combining different color palettes within single brush strokes. This is something which is so hard to replicate, and it's so unique. It really helped her stand out in quite a saturated market of brush creators. So that's just one example of many, but there's always angles where you can stand out and you can do things different or a little bit better.
Yeah, so by all means, get inspiration from these other designers and their other products, but try and find your own angle, try and find your own unique slant, try and find your own identity, your own brand, really.
Love it. So next up, we're talking define your audience. This is really getting into the nitty gritty. This is something something that we did when we started Design Cuts. Matt did quite a bit when he ran his agency. I've done it quite a bit over the years. It might seem arbitrary, but this stuff really works when you actually have an idea of who your product's intended market is and who you're serving with it. Then you can craft a better product for them.
So yeah, I mean, this kind of what's on the right hand side kind of alludes to what we were talking about earlier on in kind of some of the work that we're doing to help some of the designers that we work with actually sell their work and position it in the marketplace. And what we're seeing here basically is a fact-finding questionnaire which talks about your audience and helps us and our designers get to know the audience for products so that the design work and the brand of that product can be highly targeted towards the audience. Why is that important? Because obviously if the design work resonates with the audience and differentiates it from other products, you are going to sell more product. So doing your research on this area is really important. And actually, to be honest with you, it's not rocket science, because anyone can put this kind of documentation together to actually share with their clients as well, using something like, Google Forms, or, maybe you make PDF versions of the documents in InDesign, etc.
And you might be looking at some of this and thinking, well, this is quite a lot of information to know about my audience. Tom, Matt, how the hell am I going to figure this stuff out? I think often the answer is immersing yourself in the community that you're looking to serve. So a bunch of you in the comments said you were hand letterers. I would wager a guess that you probably spend quite a bit of time in that community. It might be on social media, Instagram, etc., but you probably have a lot of hand lettering friends. You follow hand letterers, you're in that community, you're consuming content, you're chatting with people. This is really, really useful because you probably have a good understanding on what that market and what that intended audience is like. And they're very different from like a corporate web designer,
absolutely,
for example.
Yeah. So what resonates with one person, won't necessarily resonate with another. And you've got to think about the chain as well, because not only do you want to target the audience who are buying your product, you want to show that you know about the audience that they'll be selling to as well. So, you're selling to one audience, but that one audience then needs to make money. So who's their audience? What sectors does they work in? Because you'll need to show that whatever product that you're putting together can be used in those individual sectors to help resonate with that audience to make them want to buy the product.
And I got an example for you guys. So you've probably seen, but we sell mock-up templates. And I think often creatives can get a little bit carried away with them. And they become less functional and less clean and applicable for client work.
Absolutely.
And it's more creatives geeking out for the sake of it.
Shadows. Yeah.
Well, we're thinking shadows, but we're also thinking wacky stuff. So I know we're tiny, we're in the bottom corner here, but you guys can hopefully see this. This is my post-it notes. I love them very much.
Post-it notes.
I've got a bunch like everywhere.
It's
all
like
over
it's got
the
a post-it note cold the desk.
So imagine this post-it note right here in my hand is a business card.
Yeah.
And we see so many mock-ups where instead of it just being like a single business card at a few nice angles,
which nice is something and clean background, so it's not taking your eye off the rest of the design, right? Because that would be crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'd expect for a business card something like that.
No. What you really
maybe
want,
a stack of them.
What you really want is loads of them all over the place, intersecting at crazy angles. Perhaps you've got a few shadows over the top of that as well, so you can't really see the design.
Right, and then maybe you got like a golden hand, like
a golden
pointing
hand pointing
over it, or
pretty sweet,
something like that. That stuff is when designers get a little bit carried away with their creativity. And so, like Matt says, and this is a great point. If you're making digital design resources in particular, you're selling to your fellow designers, but they are selling it generally to an end client. And so it's all well and good if you're like, look at my gold hand and my crazy business card explosion. The end client isn't going to care about that stuff. They just want to see what their business card design proposal looks like to decide if they want it or not.
And I think what's really, really dangerous is a kind of looking at what other products people are making in the presentation of those products without implementing a bit of common sense. Because you can't necessarily, there's lots of people selling a product a certain way. That doesn't necessarily mean to say their presentation is right. So a few people can start doing something in terms of presentation, shadows over everything, for instance, which is a bit of a trend. which might not necessarily be the best way to sell that end product. So yeah.
And you know what we call that, my friends? We call that the echo chamber.
Yes. Yeah.
This is what happens. Designers, they're in this little private bubble of design, and this is where trends emerge, and they get done to death and really exaggerated to the point of being kind of useless.
They do.
So
they do.
Don't think just because everyone else is doing something right now or it's the hot new thing, it's actually the best solution.
Yeah, because doing that is not going to differentiate your product. It's going to make your product look like everybody else's products, and it probably won't sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So next up, we define our audience. Now we need to define your brand, because like anything else, if you're wanting to sell products, you're going to have to set up a shop. You know, we have shops within our marketplace. We've got shops like Ian Barnard, Lisa Clans, Jessica, who's on the call, Joe, who's on the call. They all have a shop.
I just sent all the gold hands to us. Thanks, Joe.
Yes, Joe.
Big Joe.
And for example, Jessica's brand, her shop is Creators Couture.
Yeah.
Joe, who's in the comments, is the Cotswold Chalkboard.
They've got brand equity, right? And they've been building that brand equity by releasing products over a period of time. So you think, oh, great, this is from this person. They did this product. And you can actually leverage that brand equity over time, build it and build it and build it and build it. And that will increase your sales.
Yeah, so I think a good way of looking at this is it's kind of like when you're finding your style as a designer. And we see this on people's social media. We see it on their portfolio. We also see it in people's shops. So there's some people, let's take Lisa Clans again, because we love her. Her shop is very, very consistent. So you know to expect a certain quality and style of work.
Yeah, she's a brand.
She is a brand.
She's a brand,
and
a big brand.
There's other people, and same with Joe, and same with Jessica, and many other top designers we work with. But there's some people where you go on their shops and they bounce around. So it's like 1 minute they're doing a font, then they're doing some textures, then they're doing a mock-up over here. And the quality is very variable. Some is great, some's not so good. The style is bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah, there's no coherency at all.
Exactly, you're going to struggle to define a brand when you're doing that.
Absolutely, and the number of covers that we've had come through where there's no branding, there's no logo type on there, you don't know who the product's from. You know, even if that product's a real success, how are they going to build their own personal brand equity, which they can then use to sell products later? Because if it's not obvious that it's from that particular brand, that particular person, then you completely lose that aspect.
You do. And for reference, for anyone who's kind of new to this world, when Matt says the cover, he means the front image of
the
your
main
product.
image, sorry, that you'd see on the product grid of your website. So it's like your shop front, right? For the product.
Exactly. So some of the people with more established brands, they might have just released a font, for example. They have the font name large, but then they might have their logo above it or below it or something.
Rosh at ROHH Foundry, for instance, you know, has just redone his logo in Montreux. Nice. In his new font, which is cool, which we use for Design Cuts Live because it's an awesome font.
Yeah, love that font.
Awesome font. Here we go.
So these are some examples of covers, right? These are the cover images, the front images for these products.
Nail it, basically. You have just got to knock it out of the park, because when you see, you know, 12, 20 products and you're scrolling down a website, you know, people scan, pick that one out, pick that one out, pick that one out. It's so important that it differentiates itself and has that air of quality. Universe creator, you know, portrait creator, vintage collection, very vintage, are great examples of that.
Yeah, they're fantastic examples. And think of it like your shop front. People are just going to walk straight by unless it's very attractive and it entices them in some way and it catches their eye in the right kind of way. They're going to walk straight past.
Yeah, and so one bit of advice I give to actually designers putting together products is take a screen grab of Design Cuts, take a screen grab of our popular products. Drop your cover on there. Does it pop out? Doesn't it pop out? Because if it doesn't pop out, and if it doesn't convey what's in the product, people might not click on it. You won't get the sales.
And this is like, we practice what we preach. So I've done some of the graphics work, and so has Matt for some of our releases. Absolutely. I did exactly that process. Yeah. I literally screen grabbed our website. I dropped mine over and I went, it looks kind of average, or like I need to pump up the saturation, or it's getting a little bit lost. What else can I do to stand out? And it can
take some time to actually get there with it, especially with a product that's trying to present a lot of elements, to get the balance of the elements and the typography and get across what's in it and the depth of product at that size. That's actually optical to work at a larger size as well when you go in. Yeah, it can be a bit tricky, but it's worth doing.
It definitely is. So we're getting now into preview territory, by which we mean the presentational graphics, like the graphics showing off your product. What should you do? How do you do these well? Well, first of all, we believe, and we've seen this time and time again, you should show everything, because there's been a number of products we've seen over the years where they might show 10% of what's in it. It's like, you can't expect people just to figure out the rest of it.
Yeah. You don't buy a suit without looking at the trousers. I wonder what the trousers are going to look like. Do you know what? I'll buy it anyway.
Yeah, that happened one time.
I promise I'm telling you about that.
But yeah, like, it's so important. And you know what I think? When I see product previews and they show off a fraction of the product and they hide the rest, I presume the rest is not good. Yeah, and that's why they're not showing it.
That's kind of people's nature, isn't it? Really, you need to see it. You need to see the scope, and it impresses. It impresses. You know, it's value. You know, if you see all this stuff and there's even more of it, you think, oh wow, okay, brilliant. This is value. A lot of time's gone into making this product. It is huge.
And I've heard this objection from a lot of people making products. They go, but I got a ton of stuff inside this product. Isn't that too much to show off? People won't like it. They do like it. Like some of the most popular products we've sold, a bunch of
continually.
A bunch of the comments say, my scrolling finger really hurts because that's the longest page I've ever seen. But there's so much stuff in here. It's amazing. Like,
I mean, when Julie Dreams put the International Brand Collection together, there was never in the conversation, it's too big. Yeah. You know, there was always, wow, this is in depth. There's absolutely loads in here. People are going to love this, you know? There was never a conversation where it was like, oh, you know, there's not enough mock-ups in there. There was always a conversation say, let's put some more mock-ups in there to show the scope of what you can do with the product. Yeah.
Yeah, like perfect example there. That's a mammoth product.
It's mammoth, yeah.
So call out transformation as well. Generally, people are buying a product because they're trying to achieve a certain outcome. Are they trying to create watercolor effects, like this top example here with Smile? Are they trying to make their work look more vintage? Are they trying to make their digital painting look more analog and more kind of real worldly? Like whatever they're trying to achieve, whatever your product helps them to do, a really good way of showing this off visually is kind of a before and after.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And this is something often that we use in our videos to show how products work, etc. People love seeing a before and after image because you want to see, you know, how the product works, what it can do for you, how it will make your life easier, how it will make it quicker, how it will add interest to your images, how easily can you apply texture, how can you add some kind of photographic effect to your images to make them, you know, retro or pop, or, you know, it's interesting.
I'm loving some of the comments here, by the way, guys. This is just validating what we're saying, but Angela says, I love that about Design Cuts, that I get to see what I can buy before I purchase. Jackie says, I love seeing all the products. It makes it feel like I'm really getting my money's worth. Kathy says she's bought loads because she can see what she's buying. So
it's nice, isn't it?
You guys are validating what we're trying to teach here today.
You can get excited about something when you can see all the possibilities, and when you can't, you won't.
Yeah, you definitely can. Joe says, doing the previews is one of my favorite parts. It's also really nice to see the whole overview after you've been zoned in on the smaller sections.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, Joe nailed the preview. So
yeah, she really did.
How can you show the transformation? Well, if you look at the Smile example, you can literally do before and after. But if you look at the middle example, you could do a step-by-step. Yeah. You could show how it builds up if it's that kind of product, or get creative. So the bottom example, I think that's one of Ian Barnard's products.
I love those ones like where it literally shows the wipe. Yeah, and I love showing the video transition where it wipes from one side to the other, you know? Yeah, it's nice.
It looks awesome. It helps people's imaginations. It helps them picture how they might actually use the product.
Yeah, right then. Okay, features.
So this is kind of similar to the last one, but it doesn't have to always be before and after. It's calling out what is special about this product, what's quality, what are cool features. And the number of people that don't bother to do this, they just kind of slap the product in front of people and they don't tell you what's actually good about it.
Yeah, and I really like the address objections one, because you can look at the way other people's products do it badly and you can say, actually, this does it well. You know, it will do this, this, and this. It will do this, this, and this. You know, what are the problems and what are the solutions which your product actually presents to those problems?
Yeah, definitely. And look at all three of the examples here. There's a common way of doing this. You can zoom in, and people really like this because it's visually a bit more engaging, perhaps, than just an arrow pointing, being like, by the way, it does this. But if it is something like that middle example, or any of the examples really, where you're showing it off in high resolution, that allays some of people's concerns, because often you see a texture and you're like, how's that going to look when I blow it up and make it massive though? And if it's like this.
Yeah, or my personal favorite, when you buy some kind of photographic mock-up to drop work over the top and it's not high enough resolution.
Yeah.
You know, and that just kills it instantly.
So I love that when Matt put this slide deck together, he mentioned the objections, because try and think like, what are people going to be concerned about or worried when they're buying this? And that's a great example.
Take away all the objections.
Yeah, like are they worried it might not be high res? Are they worried it might not be crystal clear and sharp enough?
Are they worried it might be difficult to use?
Yeah.
You know, easy to use, high resolution, loads of formats, you know, EPS, AI, PNG, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying, because you'd be amazed how many people will look at it, be on the fence, and then be like, oh, I didn't realize it did that. Like,
absolutely.
Buy.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of product orders in the comments. We appreciate you guys, by the way. This is why we love our community. You're just as geeky about products as we are. All right, so Matt, do you want to take this one?
Well, I absolutely love this one, because I'm such a massive fan of brand applications and real world examples, because you get this imagination gap where you show someone a product and they just can't imagine it actually being used. But if you can show as many brand applications as possible, say it's a font and you say it's a script font, you say, okay, you can use that for wedding. Maybe you can use that for perfume. Maybe you can use it in cosmetics. Maybe a high-end shop could have it on their bag. Maybe it could be on the window of a coffee house. Maybe it could bridge the imagination gap, show mock-ups of all those scenarios, because every single time you do, you're opening your product up to a new audience, or, you know, that final audience that someone could then sell to. So they're thinking, wow, you know, I'm going to buy that font because actually I can use it for all these applications. The scope of the work I can do for it is massive. I can make a load of money out of that. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. It totally is. And I know Matt and myself, we've been on product pages on other sites. We're not going to name which ones.
No.
And for example, you might see a font and all you're looking at is the font.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And it tells you nothing about how useful that's going to be in a branded real world application.
Yeah. I look at it and I go, that's a nice font,
isn't it? Yeah,
that's a nice font.
And you actually sometimes you can't even really tell how nice the font is. You look at the font, but you're like, well, how is that going to translate? Or the other way around, you see some really badly done mock-ups, but then you look at the font and you think, hang on a minute, the font looks really nice. And yet when I look at the mock-ups, it looks awful. Yeah. So you've got to get both right. You know, you've got to get that high quality font and then nail the mock-ups. So people think, wow, the font looks beautiful and I could use it all in these real world brand applications. Fantastic. That's a winner. Yeah,
definitely. And of course, if you need some high quality mock-ups, designcuts.com.
Thank you.
Recommend it. But yeah, it's true. Like we know actually a lot of the product designers we work with, they're grabbing mock-ups from us because we see it in their preview graphics. Yeah. We're like, so like you can see here, pillow mock-up, iPad mock-up, business card mock-up. Right? There's some really, really great stuff out there, whatever type of product that you're working on.
Social proof. Now, this is an absolutely massive one. I mean, isn't it so much easier to sell a service when someone else says, wow, aren't they brilliant? You should use them.
Yes, it is.
It's just as simple as that, really. That's how social proof works. Without some kind of recommendation, you know, you might be a little bit sketchy about buying the product. It's like, well, it looks good, but, you know, but as soon as someone else is on there saying, yeah, it is absolutely brilliant, I've used it, and it's fantastic, and it was easy to use, you think, okay, you know.
Precisely. And a common objection we get to this point is, but I haven't released my product yet, so how am I meant to have any testimonials? And you can give away free samples and copies of the product to peers, to friends, to people in your industry,
and generate
in exchange for a testimonial. So if you can say, this hasn't been released yet, but I think it would really help you. Here's a free copy. Are you happy to like let me know your honest thoughts? If they give you a quick sentence being like, this thing's incredible, it really helped me, you can then put it in the preview graphics. So when you get around to launching it, you've got these great bits of social proof.
Yeah, but even better still, perhaps they can actually use that product and make a product out of it. And you can kind of get that double social proof. I made money out of this product. It went all the way through the product cycle. Look at what I created with it.
Yeah, super cool. And Jessica just commented saying yes on the social proof.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing a pre-release has been great on my last product, because by the time I'm doing my images, I have lovely quotes to add.
Yeah.
See,
Awesome.
we're not making this stuff up, guys.
No,
the real people out there who are doing this really, really well are doing what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So tell the story.
Yeah, well, this is obviously, everybody gets passionate about design. And when you're selling to designers, you want to say, again, you want to resonate with the audience, you know? You want to say, I'm part of your audience. I understand this. I understand about quality. I understand about time. I understand about being up in the early hours of the morning after 57 coffees and feeling really jittery. You know, it's important to resonate with them. So show the human side, because that will make that personal connection with them, and again, help sell the product.
And what I love about telling the story is it actually supports the quality, because
yes,
in this example, Tom Chalky, he spent hundreds of hours scanning authentic vintage materials and cleaning it up. He put a video together. He showed this process, as you can see on the right in his preview graphics. That inherently is going to make you realize it's a quality product.
Yeah,
it's not quickly thrown together. And when you think, wow, if he spent this many 100 hours creating this thing, it must be good.
It's value again.
Yeah.
It's value. It's time equals value. Size equals value. Quality equals value.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And another thing is, like, aside from just quality, it can really show the authenticity.
Yeah.
And when she was speaking during our birthday event at Design Cuts Live, Denise from Tula Laos was showing us some of her recent textures, and she got them from an abandoned train station. So in a world where most texture creators are quite lazy, and they go out in their backyard and they photograph their lawn, and then they Photoshop the hell out of it to try and make it more interesting than it is, she's going to these crazy locations and getting weird looks from tourists, because she's, you know, all over this abandoned train, like having fun with her camera. And that story and that process, that makes it more unique. It makes it more interesting, but it also shows she's put in the work to make this an authentic quality product.
It does, and it grows her as a brand as well, because her own personal brand will increase and her equity will increase because of that, because they will see her as someone who releases quality product. And the next time you buy a product from her, you won't even have to think about quality. You will already know from the previous one that it's probably going to be good quality. So it will be easier for her to sell the next product.
Yeah, you're totally right. That definitely links into the brand. I just saw Joe says, or you could do a whole vlog series about it.
Absolutely.
Which Joe did. She created a series for us on YouTube called The Creative Journey.
Yeah. And
a big part of that series, it was an insight into her creative business, but she did show the start to finish creation of her chalk bag. So for the people that were tuned in watching every single week, by the time that pack launched, they were literally there ready and waiting to buy it, because they'd seen all the hard work and love and labor that had gone into creating this thing. I'm loving all the DC groupies, by the way.
Great.
We can see you guys. That's awesome. In all seriousness, though, I think showing the whole backstory really helped the product, Joe says.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Like, it's
and it was great
so
watching
authentic
as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's really good.
She's technically an influencer now. She refuses to pay when she goes to hotels.
Yeah,
just
that kind
asks
of
people
thing.
to give her free stuff all the time.
Here we go.
So this is my favorite tip. I'll let you say this one, man.
Oh, right, okay. Right, this is the technical one.
Yes.
Make it look pretty. Make it look beautiful. Make it engage. Make it colourful. My goodness, isn't there a trend for just unsaturating everything at the minute?
Oh, man, I hate it.
And I can tell you, if there's a whole page of covers and they're all unsaturated and they're all flat, nothing stands out, and you don't want to click on any of them. I don't mean go crazy with colour, but don't be afraid of using colour, because colour does actually help conversions.
Yeah, and like it's not
for it at the minute.
Yeah, like Matt says, there's some really like boring looking stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is not stuff we're selling, but you know, we're aware of what's happening in the wider industry.
Yeah.
And it's really odd. It's like, how do I make it as drab and brown and dark and gloomy and unclear and muddy as I can?
Yeah. So you end up with a sea of product covers which are just beige. You're drowning in a sea of beige. It's weird. I can't quite understand it because at no point.
Yeah, look, Jessica said I can't with the unsaturated neutrals.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let us know, Jessica and anyone else in the comments if we're kind of ranting now. See, we're exposing ourselves, but we're normally much nicer than this.
And I'm sure anyone who's got like a design background or did a design degree or even self-learned this stuff, no one ever said to them, well, can you make that a bit flatter and less saturated, please?
Yeah, can you make that really beige, please?
Yeah, what about more beige? More beige.
Another trend which we've noticed, which I personally am not a fan of at all, is when people's presentational graphics look like a mood board.
Yeah,
and not in a good way.
Messy and
like it doesn't do anything we've talked about. It doesn't really show what's in the product.
No.
It doesn't show here's the features. It doesn't say the before and after. Jessica
Trump endorsed.
I love it. But yeah, like it's a real common trend as well. So it's really drab and really beige and really boring. But then also it's so massive in terms of the previews and not in the good way that we show.
Yeah, it doesn't show the scope of the product. It's confusing and you're not sure what's actually in the product.
It'll be a bunch of random stock photographs that aren't part of the product.
Yeah.
And then it'll show like one tiny illustration from the product, and then it'll be like 5 more slides of just random mood
so
board
be
stuff.
clear
and you look at it, you think, what am I looking at? Like this doesn't seem to be a product at all.
So yeah,
really
try not to confuse the audience, definitely. And you know, in any kind of design, you don't want to confuse the audience. In user interface design, you want to make things as clear as possible, as easy as possible for people to look at. Product design is exactly the same as that. Don't be cryptic or mystic or make people wonder what's actually in the product. Make it clear, make it beautiful, make it colorful, make it engaging, make it fun to look at.
Like how much
these things.
This makes me smile.
Yeah, exactly. And look at papercraft. Awesome, right? Look at that. I want to have a go.
Case in point, Jackie in the comments, she just saw this and went, this looks amazing. And she just went and bought it.
Yeah, awesome. It's really cool, isn't it? It's such a cool product. Yeah.
All right, so I love that Jessica's joining us on the rant here.
Yeah.
Jessica says 100% that about the mood board. I've been so confused about what's included in the product on some of those.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. And she makes digital products. Yeah. So do we. We know digital products probably better than anyone. So if we can't figure out what it is you're selling,
then you're in real
your customers
trouble,
won't either.
Yeah, real trouble.
So this is good. This is like this is really cathartic.
I'm feeling better after this. I'm going to be like, oh God, weight's off.
Yeah, because we literally we work with our designers quite often on this stuff and help give them advice. And it is, it's like making the world more beautiful, one product at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe says this papercraft product is pure joy.
It's super cool, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm going to take this one because I love this one.
Go on then. This is your baby.
Go the extra mile. That's something we always try and do at Design Cuts, but we've noticed that the people that do this in their products do really well, and they do really well not just in terms of their product sales in the moment, but like Matt has mentioned, in terms of their brand.
Yeah,
it goes such a long way in terms of how they position themselves to their customers. And Lisa Glanz again is a great example of this. So people get her product, they're really happy with what they've just bought, but then it's like, boom, here you go, here's a bunch of bonuses, and it'll be like, here's some great PDF guides. I'm going to show you exactly how to work with. Joe did this as well, very well in her product. Here's some bonus videos. It's just extra value, and it's care and love put into it, because we've seen some people put these guides together and it'll be a plain text document with a few lines.
Yeah,
and it
so
looks
many
videos,
of those.
right?
So many of those, right?
And it's like, it's like, what are you doing? The product looks great.
Yeah.
That's like an afterthought. So when you go the extra mile, you put in that extra work, and you've got really beautiful guides and bonuses and extra value. People appreciate it. Loving you guys chatting away in the comments. I'm so chuffed to be included.
Well, it's great. It's a great product, beautifully made. You know, people love the quality.
I love the serendipity that you're on this call, Joe, to see it.
Kit's saying she loves Lisa's work so much. Absolutely. Who isn't a Lisa fan?
Everyone's a Lisa fan. So this is our big reveal. And then we're going to jump into some Q&A in a second. Matt, do you want to announce?
Sure. So we've kind of started our own little baby, which is kind of a design agency, which obviously is a love for me because I ran a design agency for a long time, but within Design Cuts, where we're actually helping product designers by branding up, increasing their own equity, giving them the structure they need for that, and also helping them design product to sell through Design Cuts to keep the quality super high.
And what we're doing is we're offering this as a service. So we haven't fully announced this yet. We're not even officially selling it just yet. But so many
prototype stage.
It's prototype. It's beta.
Yeah, it is beta. You're in beta.
But you're our core community, so we like to share these little exclusives with you guys. But what we see is there's a lot of people who love making products and they're really good at it, but obviously it's quite involved. Everything we've just covered in the preview and presentation stage takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time. Not everyone enjoys it. So we're trying to offer that as a service so they can really maximize their sales. But beyond that, we're going to be imminently launching the Product Academy, which is going to be part of our Learn section at Design Cuts. And we're going to be putting together dozens of detailed articles and worksheets and things of that nature to better inform people with how to create the best products they can. So think of it like everything we talked about today, but much more in depth, in articles that you can come back to and reference anytime with even more specific examples. And we're going to be breaking it down very specifically. So it will be, here's how you do business card mock-ups and that kind of thing. Over time, it's going to get bigger and bigger.
And
we're going to hold your hand.
Count over it.
Exactly. Anyone who wants to do any type of product, we're going to be adding to this thing over time, and literally taking you by the hand and be like, don't make these mistakes, do it more this way, and loads of examples.
So basically just giving you the structure that we use, that we know works from years of experience in selling digital products online. Just giving it away
for free.
Yeah.
So we think it will be a way of just showing how much we care about this, because as you guys know, and as we've mentioned, we are, of course, the most curated marketplace on earth, and we're very proud of that. And so we want to try and champion quality in a time where perhaps other places are being flooded with a lot of subpar products, and the average quality is dipping a little bit. And it's just an ocean of kind of noise out there. We want to be the people that really continue to champion and push for quality and continue to work with the best people, but also inspire and help people to get to that standard, and to make some money from what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are liking it in the comments.
Good.
So we appreciate that, guys. Kathy said she just wrote an article that mentioned us. Feel free, if you can, it's probably going to get lost in the chat. If you could email that, Kathy, to hello@DesignCuts, we'd love to take a look after this and read through it.
That'd be cool. But we'll all be writing content which will be going up on the site, including me. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some of the insights, really, and helping other designers, because they get a massive kick out of it.
Yeah, it should be a ton of fun. And yeah, Abby says, wow, thank you. I'm just slowly decreasing my hours at work to start designing for myself. Great advice. Thank you. You're very welcome, Abby. And we hope that not just you, but a bunch of people on this call, if you've been on the fence about creating products, there's no time like the present to start. And we hope that this
really isn't.
Product Academy is going to demystify it for you.
There's still the white space out there, because there's so much product which is samey and not very well presented, and that you can still stand out in the marketplace.
I love that. So we're going to stop sharing now, guys.
Q&A.
We're going to come back and do some Q&A to wrap up. You're okay on time, Matt?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
Hopefully everyone else is too, so we can,
let's get out of here. We're back in the room. Hello. First of all, before we jump into Q&A, leave a quick comment. Let us know, are you feeling inspired to create a digital product? Let us know. And if so, what are you thinking? What kind of product? Is it a font? Is it a texture? Is it some workbooks? What are you thinking?
Yes.
Let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to jump into
the Q&A.
questions. Been wanting to do this for ages, Kathy says. Well, you should do it then, Kathy. Angela says fonts. You should do it, Angela. There's never been more resources and education to that.
And then there is still the space to actually sell them as well, I think.
Tayaba says, can we have a recording of this later? Yes, you can.
Or in the Learning Hub.
Yeah, in the Learning Hub on our YouTube. It's youtube.com/DesignCuts, so check that out. We've also got all the free talks we had as part of our birthday event. Yeah. So definitely check that.
So all of this stuff, all of this learning content will all be on the website for everyone to see for free forever. Because
and the Product Academy
as
well.
Yeah, that's all going to be up there.
Huge.
Yeah.
Joe just released a product. Good, Joe. We missed
you.
Okay, so Kathy says, I've got a Who's Your Customer form on my website for a free download along with a few other freebies. Are these sorts of things saleable? Of course they are.
Yeah, absolutely. If you white label them and put them together in such a way that they're easy for other people to understand and easy for them to update and rebrand, etc., then absolutely that would be a saleable product.
So I'm going to stop kneeing the desk, guys. My legs are too long.
Just hang on, let me hold it. Hold it. There we go. So yeah, anyone, who's obviously starting a business or has started a small business knows that by putting together slick, professional documentation, you are increasing the value of your work by making yourself look more established as a brand, and you can charge more for your services. So it's worth doing, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Branky says, we all know selling on stock services, but what other ways of selling products would you recommend? I have many high quality textures, still lives, product photos or compositions, and even templates. How and where to start selling them? And we are not precious about this, guys. Like, we love being a distribution channel for many of the people we work with, but I actively encourage people, have your own website.
Absolutely.
So sell it on your own website. And there's swings and roundabouts. So obviously when you sell on a marketplace, you lose a bit of the profit and a bit of the margin because you share that with whatever the marketplace is. But the upside is they help you massively with distribution. So
absolutely.
A ton of people we work with, we can actually achieve the majority of their sales because they simply couldn't do that with their own audience. But I think diversifying and having both is definitely a good idea. For example, Lisa Gland has her own website, but she also is hugely popular at Design Cuts.
Yeah, and she has her own community and she has her own newsletter. And that means when she launches products, she can actually reach out to that community and give them like, hey, I'm launching this product and there's a load of sales she's just going to make just like that.
Yeah, so do both. But absolutely, we're very proud of what we enable people to do in terms of their earnings at Design Cuts. And again, naming no names, but we do hear quite regularly, it's so busy elsewhere that it is very hard. If you put something on iStock, you're probably not going to make any money.
Sure.
There's loads of websites like that out there where people really struggle, and then they come to us and they're like, this is more curated. I don't get lost in a sea of noise, and I can actually make more of a living. So that's why we retain that curation. So we've got Eleni says, when we use stock photos and or graphic elements created by other designers, should we mention that in the descriptions of artwork we produce for sale, even if the original designers and photography clearly state in their licenses that no credit is required? I'm asking this because there are feature accounts on Instagram that do not feature artwork containing stock images. Okay, yeah, I think I get what you mean. So first of all, our license actually doesn't allow for that because obviously what we sell is digital products on behalf of our designers. We don't want people to take those and then go sell that as another digital product. But I can see it's a little bit different with stock photography. Just be respectful of the license.
Absolutely.
If people are very explicit, as I think often they are on sites like Unsplash, then it's fine. If they're clear about it and they're happy with that, fine. But always do your due diligence with the license.
And be respectful, because other people have made that design work and they all necessarily need to make a living.
Yes, very much so. Okay, so Sneha says, if you're just starting out and have no real audience or email list yet, I was wondering who I would even send my fact-finding questionnaire to. Initially, I wondered if I should send it on Instagram, but most of my followers are other illustrators and artists who won't be the ideal buyer. This is quite a common problem. It's like a catch-22, isn't it?
It is,
when you've got no audience. I would hark back to what I said earlier, where it's just immerse yourself in that
part
world.
Of the audience, really. You can kind of work it out. I mean, when we started Design Cuts, there was a certain part of the audience definition process where we were having to, immerse ourselves in the audience because we know the audience. And we put ourselves in our mind, but obviously you do some research as well. But you can get a certain step and a certain distance through it just by thinking, okay, I'm part of this audience. Kind of know who I'm going to sell to, and literally get yourself a whiteboard and say, okay, what does the audience drink? What kind of language resonates with them? Where do they go? What do they do? What channels inspire them? What artwork inspires them? And get in their heads, really. Yeah,
like you can do a real deep dive. You can go to conferences for these industries. You can listen to podcasts. You can pay attention to what people are posting and talking about on social media. I would never hide behind that. I would never use that as an excuse to hold you back from doing this, because I just think there is so much transparency in the world now. This is not behind closed doors, secret stuff. It's all out there, really, if you put the work in. Do we like a product to be exclusive on our marketplace? Dana says. Dana. I mean, it's nice.
It is nice, yeah, but it's not something you
not something
completely ask for. No, I mean, some of the products where we've had a lot of input into the creation of them, and
collaborative products.
Collaborative products, yeah. Some of the collaborative products where we've had a lot of input, we kind of like that to be exclusive because it's kind of our baby. But at the same time, you know, there's promotional things we'll do for other products which are definitely above and beyond what our competitors might do. And we don't ask for exclusivity or, you know, not lifetime exclusivity. So it just depends on the product, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all for people just having that freedom. Not even so much with digital design products, but I see so many marketplaces in different industries where they're very restrictive on the sellers. And it's kind of just like holding people in this iron grip. And we're just not about that. I think it's a really horrible way to do business. It's like, we are actually thankful to work with our designers to help with their sales of their amazing products. So it's their products at the end of the day. It's not our products. We just enjoy helping them to sell it. So
and we'll reach out to a designer and say, would you like to put together an exclusive product with us? And you know, they say yes. Hopefully because they enjoy the process and we can get them lots of sales and, you know, it's cool. Good fun.
It is. Jay just asked in the comments about our YouTube channel. There it is, guys. I just put it in there. Lisa said, can we link to some of the questions? Sorry, the questions. It's been a long day. Can we link to some of the products that we've mentioned in this presentation? I think what we're going to do as this product academy takes shape, we're obviously going to include lots of products in there. We will link directly to those product pages when we reference them. So when we start rolling that out quite imminently, that's going to be where you can discover some of the top sellers and use them as good reference points. Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. I think that might be all of the questions. We might have time for like
anyone else?
One final one. We see a bunch of people watching live, so don't be shy, guys. You get to pick both of our brains. If this is something you're interested in, we would love to help, so don't hold back. But otherwise, I'm going to go have a hot cup of tea.
Oh, another cup of tea would be nice.
Yeah. It's the most English-sounding thing we've ever said on
Otherwise,
Hangout.
I'm going to go have a nice cup of tea.
Cup of tea. Cool. All right. I think that looks like it. We haven't got a lot of questions, but we've got a lot of inspired people.
Yeah.
By
Thanks,
the look
guys.
Cool. That was fun, guys.
Yeah.
Sonia says, thank you very much. Very welcome, Sonia. Yeah, we enjoyed this. I'm sure we're going to do a few more follow-up sessions as part of our weekly Hangouts on the back of this product academy. We hope that you guys love that as a resource. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited to see all the amazing products that come out of it. So there you go. Look at all the positivity.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
We love
it's
you
lovely
guys.
To see you.
Cool. Yeah, can't wait for the product academy now.
Cool.
Nice. We'll see you next. Ooh, do we have one next week?
I'm not sure. I think we might both be away next week.
We're away, so we'll see you in 2 weeks.
I think
we're going to be back with an awesome guest. And we hope everyone has a wonderful creative day ahead.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.